Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Champion the Gamer. I am delighted to be joined by the Yorkshire Gamer, someone who's already got a mass following and doesn't need my help whatsoever. But this is a third episode. We've had two great ones so far, and I'm hoping this one will be just as fantastic. So, first thing we always do is welcome in and we say, let's have some creator origins. So, Yorkshire Gamer, take it away. Who are you? What are you about? What's your page like? And all that good stuff.
Yeah, hi, Marv. Thanks for having me on, first of all. This is the first ever podcast that I've ever done. So it's an honor. And obviously, I've been following your channel for quite some time. And I just love how you champion the people around you and the people that, uh, watch your channel. And I think it's a really good thing that you're doing. I think a lot of people could learn a lot from you as well, championing other people. So it's not something that we see too often, unfortunately. But yeah, thanks first of all for having me. I'm the Yorkshire Gamer. I've been around since, gosh, 2022. Um, to be honest, I love all things retro gaming. In particular, the PS1. That's like my childhood in a nutshell. All the PS1 games that I used to play back in the day. But yeah, in terms of content, I try and mix it up a bit. I like doing funny shorts. I like doing like educational stuff, and yeah, I guess just showcasing the collection as well. Because I think that's really what brings the community together. Just sharing what we used to play as kids, bring back that nostalgia.
Because you can already, for those that can see this, I might put a clip up. He has got a wonderful PS1 collection behind him. What was, yeah, has that always been a thing for you, the PS1? Or did you come back to it later with more appreciation for it? Or was it from a youngster?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I'll take you way back. So, on my fourth birthday, I got a Commodore 64 for my fourth birthday from my mum and dad, and I still have vivid memories of playing with the joystick and having a keyboard, and there's like a cassette player thing that you put the cassette tapes in, and that's really what started it off. Before then, never had any experience with video games. Um, and then I think after a bit, my mum and dad probably got fed up of having to rewind the cassette and having to load levels and having to wait 3 minutes for the level to load. So they got me a Sega Mega Drive. So that was like the official, I guess, console that I properly played on, and I used to love playing all the Disney games and stuff like that. And then my next door neighbor at the time was like one of my best mates. He got a PS1, and I remember going around and seeing these discs and going, "Whoa, what's this?" And then just seeing the graphics and everything in 3D. It just completely, opened a brand new chapter for video games. So I begged and pleaded my mum and dad to get me a PS1, and they did eventually. And yeah, ever since I got the PS1, I've always been stuck on PlayStation basically. So, but yeah, in terms of going back to PS1, I do have massive appreciation for it now. Just seeing where we've come from to what we are doing now, and some of the games on the PS1 are still timeless. Like Metal Gear Solid, for example. You could just pick that up and just play it whenever, even though the graphics aren't great. Um, it's such a fantastic game. But
But
yeah,
I was saying it's the Boxer yesterday, but like the PS1 is a good example of the fact that you could sort of see back then anyway, generational differences seem generational differences.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
now a lot of it blends into one, doesn't it? A lot of the technology is exactly the same. But
yeah.
when you play PS1 to PS2, or you said Commodore to the difference seemed immense, didn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So PS1 to PS2 in particular, um, I remember getting the PS2 on launch, and my mom got it from the catalog. I think it was like Littlewoods or something like that, whatever catalog it were back then.
That's a
And
throwback in it, Little Woods.
yeah, yeah. And I think at the time, I think the PS2 was like 500 quid from this catalog, and I was like, I know it's a lot of money, mum, but I really want a PS2. So she made me get a paper round. I actually had three paper rounds, and I would pay it off. She would pay the bulk cost, and then I'd have to pay the rest off. But yeah, just that that jump from PS1 to PS2 was just crazy. Just I can't even I can't even, like Tony Hawk's 3 and 4, they were released on the PS1, but they were also released on the PS2 as well. And just the difference in in the art, the scale, the sound, even the gameplay. Yeah, it was just like a whoa, this is the next level. And you can probably say that about PS2 and PS3, and then PS3 and PS4. PS4 and PS5, not so much, but yeah, I'm sure we're getting there.
And then obviously the last question I've got to ask is the old adage: everyone remembers their first. What was your first PS1 game you played? Because I bet
Oh,
you mine was different.
right. So first PS1 game, uh, it'd probably be Ridge Racer that I can, but it wasn't the first game that I owned, if that makes sense. So I probably went to my mate's house and playing this racing game, just like whoa, going from like a playing Micro Machines on the Mega Drive to
Or Game
wow,
Boy for
I'm in a
me.
3D world. I'm actually in a car and all of that. But the first game that I officially owned that I got with the PS1, I think was Rayman.
Nice.
And although it's a 2D platformer, it still looked great on a PS1. Um, and then another thing as well, the memory card.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
also on the Mega Drive and Commodore 64, you couldn't save your games. That in some cases it would give you a password that you could put in to go back to a certain level or whatever. But I remember having this memory card and not having a clue what it was, and I took it to school. I was in junior school, and I remember putting it in my pocket, taking it to school. So I remember somebody at school had a PS1, and I said, "What's this for?" They're like, "You can save your games on it." I'm like, "What?" And I just couldn't compute what that meant. And obviously, yeah, when I got home, I was like, "Oh my god, I can save my games." So that was like another thing for the
Well, I'll
PS1 that I
extend
loved.
that for you if you like. Obviously, you could obviously save the games. It took me probably, I'm going to sound ridiculous, about a year after my first memory card to realize how to leave the flap open
Oh
and
yeah.
actually access the card data itself. So there we go. And also, just to finish this off on a round circle,
Yeah.
my first game I ever played, not owned, I want to point that one out, was Spice World. So let's move on.
Spice World.
Hot takes and solid debates. I'm going to scoop from that quite quickly. Hot takes and solid debates. This is your chance to throw something wild at me, wild and wacky at me, and I can come back, or I can give you one and get your reaction.
Okay, right. So I've been thinking about this, and I do have a couple. Um,
I do. Sorry to cut you off. I do love how I've had this. Is your third one, and all three so far. I said I've had a real big think about this.
yeah. To,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, Marv. I was laid in bed last night. I did a stream till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, right, I need to go to bed. And I was just laid in bed, just thinking, what can I talk about to Marv tomorrow about these hot And it must have been about 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I got to sleep. Right, okay, but yeah, I've had a good think, and the first one is online trophies. So, uh, obviously, when we reached the PS3 era, you would collect trophies on your games, and there's the all magnificent platinum trophy at the end that you can get to say, yes, I have bossed that game. I never have to play it again if I don't want to, because I've got all the trophies. But there are certain games where, in order to get the platinum trophy, you need to do online trophies as well. But the problem with that is, in particular, the PS3 era and some PS4 games as well, the servers have shut down. So it means it's impossible to get those trophies, and all importantly, to get that platinum trophy to put in your cabinet. Um, so yeah, I what I would say is either have the online trophies as a DLC separate to the main list of trophies, or if the server shuts down, they should automatically just give them to you
yeah.
as like part of the update. Yeah, we know you can't get these trophies, so here you go.
I yeah. I think the whole concept of trophies to me, once I reached probably, I mean, pick a round figure, 18, I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously when you're in your teens, because I'm from the era where like I'd have been what 14, 15, when gamer score, you play in the Call
Oh
of
yeah.
Duty
Yeah.
era, and you get your gamer score. Sort of mattered back then a little bit, but it
Mm.
didn't. Just the fact you got a gold badge for it.
Yeah.
I've never trophy hunted. I've never,
No.
it's never I've never been a completionist.
Mm.
In fact, the game I completed first for 100% was San Andreas, um,
Oh really? Wow.
which took bloody ages.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved it. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never really been a trophy guy, so I get the idea of like why it's there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can sort of feel that I've done it, but I've never understood online stuff ever, 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 ever.
Yeah. 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 It's frustrating. Like to be honest, myself, I don't play online. I'm kind of like a one player type game, or story modes. I used to play back in the talking like 15 years ago now. I used to play like Call of Duty online and stuff like that. Got pretty good at it, but then I don't know. I lost the love for it, and I found that I was spending more hours playing online, than playing other games. So I decided to slowly wean myself off the online
Mhm.
gameplay, so I could focus more on other games that I might not have played previously. So, but yeah, in terms of like platinum hunting, the first one that I ever got was Heavy Rain on the PS3, and you had to get all of the different endings and things like that. And at the time, I absolutely loved that game. Playing that the first time through, um, and just seeing what my outcome was based on my choices. And then when I found out, oh, there's actually 17 different endings or whatever it is, I thought I've got to try that. And then yeah, after that, it was kind of a given that if I played the game once through, if I really enjoyed that game, I had to get all the achievements for it as well. And it got a bit silly towards the end. So at the minute, I think I've got about 230 platinum trophies on the PlayStation. And to be honest, the last one I got was Astrobot, on the PS5. But before that was probably about a year ago. So, but there was like probably a 2-3 year period where I just had to get every single trophy. It was a bit bit silly, really. Now, in hindsight, spending all that time. But yeah, I just think if you really enjoy a game though, enough that you feel like I want to explore everything and achieve everything, then I guess that's okay.
That's completely fair enough. It's like, I mean, real quick, so I whole thing about can you buy stuff in game now versus unlocking it. So I like that post someone did a few weeks ago on
Yeah.
one of the major sites, which was like the Halo. Just for real quick, I did actually play Halo online tournaments, but the you could unlock the Super Soldier armor by
Oh,
just
okay.
playing the game. And if you
Yeah.
had that in game, it meant something because you actually worked hard to get it. Whereas nowadays, kids just buy it. I think that's on the same kind of lines. You had a second hot take.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So this one's more of an annoyance to me when it comes to playing games. They don't do it so much now, but imagine if you will, Marv, you're playing a 3D game and you're playing uh, as a character, but the only way that you can control that character is via tank moves. I guess is what they call it. So you're in a 3D world and you think, right, I'm gonna go over there. Yeah, I'll go forward. Okay, I'll turn. Then I'll go forward. And then instead of like when you press back, rather than the character turning around and walking that way, they just like step back. If you know what I mean. Um, a lot of PS1 games did that. Tomb Raider, for example, I love that game, but the tank controls get a bit too much. Croc as well. That's another fun little platformer. But I just don't like when the main character is essentially a tank in a 3D world. That's my take anyway.
As someone that doesn't actually like tank controls, I fully concur with that.
Yeah,
Obviously, Resident Evil did it and did it well,
yeah.
but I think that's probably the only one I would say really holds up because it's got its own cult following almost now.
Yeah.
Whereas games now that have it but don't need it are just what are we doing?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I think unless you're a tank, then
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you shouldn't be there.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to our coaches' questions now. This is a segment where I pick 3 or 4 of my infamous, we'll say that, infamous questions from TikTok that I've asked in videos before, and I'll just throw them at you randomly. So I've got 2 or 3 here.
Yep.
I'm gonna go through them. So, my friend, who is a game protagonist you really can't stand?
Protagonist, as in the bad guy.
And
Oh
that
no.
pro
Oh
so hat.
yeah.
So
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Or bad guy in your eyes.
Yeah. Okay. So who can't stand?
See, what I love about these segments is I'm finding that it's hard on the spot.
Yeah.
But, and to remind people that are listening, I do actually have some to throw at you if you need some examples. But this is all your list.
Okay, protagonist that I don't like. I'm just looking at the collection to see if anything jumps to mind. Yeah, I'm really struggling with that one, Mal. That's a really good question.
I have a few.
Go
Okay,
on.
so I said I said this on the last episode, and I'm going to get a lot of hate eventually because I've become the Batman hater. I don't like the Batman games. I'm not a Batman guy.
Yeah.
But Batman in the Arkham series is the most unironic arse ever. He's like a nerdy.
Right.
Oh, you like that, do you? You like that? Like a taunting person.
Yeah.
Batman is, even if someone's not a fan of him.
Yeah.
I think Batman in any of those games is just not for me. And the Joker's far more entertaining.
Yeah, got you.
So there is that. Another one that people have mentioned, and this was on the comment section, was Nathan Drake.
Really? See, I guess with Nathan Drake,
It's Marmite in it.
yeah. So, to be honest, the first time that I ever played Uncharted, the first one, I think it was probably on the PS3, and at the very beginning, you're on a boat, and then some bad guys come on their boats and stuff like that, and I can't remember what Nathan Drake said, but there was just something about his character that I just said to myself in my head, I'm going to really enjoy this game just because of his character. He just doesn't take it serious. Although he's throughout the game he just murders hundreds and hundreds of people, he's still really like a really chill guy and really funny at the same time. Yeah. So yeah, I think Nathan Drake makes the game, in my opinion, just because of his character. Such a funny guy.
What about the flip side of that? What about what is his name from Aiden from Watch Dogs?
I'm going to tell you something now, Marv. I've never played Watch Dogs.
That is. You know what? You're made for podcasting. Do you know why? Because my next question is a game people will be surprised you never played.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a few actually.
Oh, well, there we go. See,
right. Yeah. So you mentioned Batman. I've not played any of the Batman series. I have them, and I do want to play them, but I've just never got around to them. Usually, what happens is I'll buy a game, going, I'm going to play that, but I'm going to finish this game that I'm currently playing first. Then, by the time I finish the game that I'm currently playing, another really good game's come out. So I'm like, oh, all right, I'm going to put Batman to one side. I'm going to play it. Then I'll just completely forget about it. But yeah, Batman, Watch Dogs, never played it. GTA 5, never played it. The reason for that, though, is I absolutely loved the trilogy that came out on the PS2. So GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Loved them. Then GTA 4 came out, and I just could not get on with it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like the driving mechanics and things like that. I just, because there was like a big switch or change in the way that you controlled the vehicles and stuff, and I just couldn't get along with it. And then ever since then, I've just had this bad taste about GTA. So when GTA 5 came out, although it looks beautiful and fantastic, yeah, I just weren't bothered. So I've never played it.
Did you never play? Because I said this to Atomic. Did you never play Battle of the Gay Tony or what was the other one? There was 2 in there, Battle of the Gay Tony and the other one. Did you never play those 2? The DLC spin-offs?
Oh no, yeah, never
Because
played
they
it.
are awesome.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, because when GTA 4 came out, I was like, this is different.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like San Andreas is my thing. Like I
Yeah.
love the Vice City stories, Liberty. I love all of that.
Mm,
I even love Chinatown Wars, which is bizarre. But like, yeah. So when GTA 4 came out, I'm with you. The driving was different, and it just didn't make sense. But
mm.
actually, I think it's aged the best, arguably.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably my
yeah.
hot take, actually, probably. And yeah, it's one of those games I think if you go back and play now, it's actually really good.
Mm.
But when GTA 5 came out, I played. Have you touched it at all, GTA 5?
No,
Okay, so
I've got it just in case, but I've
because
not played
I
it.
got, I try to think how many missions it is, like 3 or 4 missions in. You got a little dog called Chop Chop or Chop, and you have to chase him for a little while, trying to catch a bad guy.
Mm,
After that mission, I just couldn't be bothered. Like it's just too much going on.
mm.
World's too big, it's too much force stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Jokes don't land as much anymore. Maybe it's an age thing, who knows? I just
maybe.
thought, no, GTA 5 isn't for me. I've not touched it since. And that was
Really?
probably 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh wow.
Or whatever it is now. GTA 5 been out for
Yeah,
so
it's
long, isn't it?
I would say GTA 5. It came out on the PS3, so that's
Mm,
shows how old it is. It's
yeah.
crazy. Isn't
All right. And so
it?
we'll finish this segment off, if you like, with, and you got some lovely suggestions or selection back there. What is the game most sentimental to you?
Ooh, sentimental. There's probably a small handful. Um, I want to say probably Sonic 2 is one of them from the Mega Drive. Used to play that all the time with my older sister. Um, yeah, and obviously with Sonic 2, one of you can play as Sonic and one of you can play as Tails. So you used to take it in turns. I was always Sonic, obviously. But but yeah, that's I've got good memories playing Sonic 2. After that, Metal Gear Solid definitely. Um, when I mentioned earlier about my next door neighbor and seeing him on the PS1, he had Metal Gear Solid, and I just remember as I said, being blown away by it, just of how different it was to the games that I played previously. Like the games that I played previously were pretty much PG, um, but yeah, just I think just the dialogue in it as well. There wasn't really any games where there was a story, to be told. Um, so yeah, that's definitely one. Um, I've probably got a couple more if I've got time.
Yeah, of course you have.
The Last of Us, um, first one.
I can't get shouted at for Last of Us Part 2 again. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. With The Last of Us Part Two, there was generally a lot of hate for it, for different reasons. I think the main reason was obviously what happened with Joel, which I get. People are going to be pissed.
What happened with Joel?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'm joking, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously there was all that thing, but yeah. But the first one, I've got a special place in my heart for that one. It was. I remember buying it. I got basically had my employer at the time. I just finished doing 10 years there, and I got a Amazon voucher for like 200 quid or something as a way to say thank you. So, oh great, I'll use that. And I remember all this hype coming out for The Last of Us, and I thought, you know what, I don't really dabble into like horror or anything like that, but it looks all right. I'll get it. And I remember buying it with these vouchers, and it literally just sat in my cupboard for about 6 months because I was just like, I'll get round to it, I'm sure. Um, and then eventually I did get round to it, and the first 10 minutes of that game, just I'm a dad myself, and just seeing what those characters had to go through in those first like 10-20 minutes, I was like, oh god, this is this is something else. And then obviously the story itself, just brilliant. It's so brilliantly written. Um, and again, it's just for me, it's one of those games that is just timeless. It's just one of those games that no matter when in the future, I could always go back and really enjoy that game, if not for just playing it, for the story. Um, Yeah, so The Last of Us, that's definitely in there. And uh, in fact, no, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah,
No
I'll
problem at
leave it
all.
there.
No problem at all. I think with the Last of Us to wrap that bit, if this the first one is so class because it is a linear game in nature,
Mm,
but because of the way the story is penned around it and all the set pieces are different enough that they're all unique
yeah,
but feel real, if that makes sense.
yeah,
It's a linear game that doesn't feel linear. You feel like you're living through the world as they live through it themselves.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's just, I think it's fantastic. And I want to just, for listeners, make sure they don't kill me, is that the Last of Us Part 2 is amazing. I'm going to keep saying it. It is unbelievable. I recognize that. I think I just came at it too quickly after the first one. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
giving myself a few months and then going back to it.
yeah. I
That's all I'll
think I
say.
think I might have left a comment on your video
Yeah.
initially because I was like, oh, I hate it when I see other people saying that they disliked it, and it does get me thinking, uh, why? Have they fully played it or I don't know, but I know there's a lot of talk about it just being too long. I do get that. There are certain points in the game where you think, this would be a good ending, just to stop here. So I think
Mm.
it's when Ellie and Dina are in the farmhouse, and Tommy comes around and says, I know where she is. Let's go and let's do this." And Dina dismisses him, tells him to go away, and Ellie should have just stayed. At that point, that would have been a nice ending, but obviously, I guess they felt that there's still more story to tell here, and I'm kind of glad that they did keep it in, even though it is an extra 2-3 hours of gameplay, um, because as I think I mentioned on your video, um, it's not a happy ending story. It's everybody loses in the end. Obviously, Ellie loses Dina, and I forgot what the boy's called. Um, yeah, their kid. Tommy obviously loses an eye. He can't walk properly anymore. He's lost his brother, obviously. Um, I think the only people that have a happy ending in that game is probably Abby and her companion. Um, Obviously, because once the credits go up and when you get to the title screen, you can see that they've got to their destination from the title screen. So you're like, oh, well, at least something good came of this story. But
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what part three might might include.
Well, let's see. So this is now Create a Spotlight. This is your chance to, as much as you can, plug yourself, plug the fantastic charity work you're doing right now, and plug everything about your channel, but also give a spotlight onto the type of creator you follow and engage with. Throw some names if you want to, or you can leave it as just a case of this is the type of person I enjoy. The floor is yours. Create a spotlight.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely. I do want to mention some people definitely because um, although I do have a big following, I don't feel like I have a big following at times.
You do.
No, it's more I'm sharing it with the people around me. You know what I mean? I don't feel like it's just me that's got me to that many followers. It's definitely the support from the community, and obviously we bounce off each other's ideas. There's always debates and things like that that we can reply with a video to and things like that. But yeah, there's definitely a few names out there, people that have helped me to get to that point, and also people that I feel definitely need some more recognition on this app because of what they do. Um, so yeah, I'll start off with um, Retro Revisit. What a top guy he is. Um, yeah, to be honest, I took a break from streaming online just because I was moving house, and at the time my setup was in the living room, so I worked from home and during COVID, and I had a desk in the living room, and obviously there's a lot of traffic in there because I've got a family and things like that. So what would happen is I would get all my like PlayStation stuff out and connect everything up and stuff. I'd do a stream for 2 hours, and then at the end of the stream, I'd have to pack it all away so I could work at the desk again. And eventually it just got a bit too much. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a break from streaming, and Retro Revisit helped me out to get things set back up, because obviously over a certain amount of time things change and you forget things. So I still got the equipment, but I just didn't have a clue what to do with it and how to set it up properly. So yeah, big shout out to Retro Revisit. And as I say, um, his posts, he heavily involves his family, which is really sweet. There's one that he did the other day when he was in the hospital with his daughter, who's unfortunately not very well at the moment. And it was like it was based on Metal Gear Solid 5, where he crawls out of the toilet with bandages around his face.
It's so good.
He's like,
It's
"Get you
so
in
good.
here."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, we need more of this." It's so uplifting and funny. So yeah, definitely Retro Revisit. We'll stick with the retros. Retro Revival as well. I started following him quite early on when he was starting up, and I saw that he had these stacks of video games in his man cave, and I just seeing him go from being in a dark room with just stacks of games and still producing really great content, to seeing how he is now, where he's got all these bookshelves and he's got everything all in its place, and again, the conversations that he has with the viewers definitely needs some more recognition. um another guy, Boxiati, definitely. um at times I struggle with my words. I don't know if it comes across that way, but
He doesn't.
I uh I don't have a lot of confidence, when I'm talking, which is really weird. It's something that I've lived with for many years, and in most cases, if I don't have to talk, I'll just stay silent. If if the opportunity is there, I'll only talk when I'm spoken to. But uh, Boxiati, um, he just the way that he says things, he's such a wordsmith. I was like, where did he pull that from? You know, if I had to, write a script for, a 2 minute video that I had to do a TikTok for, I'm sure he could just do it off the cuff. Whereas me, it would probably take me about an hour to think of something so creative and funny and in some cases dark as well. Such a brilliant guy. And again, I remember, I think first time I saw him, I dropped in, I was just scrolling through TikTok and a live came up. And he had this massive stack of PS3 games. And I think at the time he was holding The Last of Us. I thought, oh, I found my people. And he was saying how much he loved it and stuff like that. So automatically gave him a follow. But yeah, just watching his content since then, yeah, he definitely needs more recognition on the app, definitely. Next one, Holly Retro. I'm sure you've heard of Holly Retro. She's
Have
so
indeed.
funny.
Yep.
So funny. Uh, there's times where she drops in the live or other people's lives, and just some of the things that she comes out with, it's so ridiculous, but it's so funny at the same time. And again, it's just like, where did you pull that from? But she does these segments called Holly's Histories as well. It's quite educational, and you're like, oh, you learn something new about the retro world that you might not have known of before. But yeah, Holly definitely needs some more recognition. And
She was the one that made my seal of approval.
oh, was it right?
Yep. Shout
There
out
we
Holly
go.
Retro. She actually messaged me and said, because I'd said about it was jokingly, about this seal thing.
Hmm.
Oh, they've been approved by Marv kind of thing. And she was like, you need a seal of approval. You need an actual proper stamp to make it
Yeah,
official.
yeah,
And yeah, she sent me 2 or 3, or the same design sort of, but different lighting and yeah, she sent me a couple of them, and I chose one, and here we are. It's now the logo of my page and
yeah,
podcast. So yeah,
yeah. I think that's like a really good thing as well, Marv, because like, yeah, do you know when people see that stamp, you're like, yeah, we know this person's okay because Marv
I
says
said
so.
this to Boxer yesterday. I was like, the fact this is actually a thing is just the most wild thing ever. Because I
Yeah,
have literally zero pull, zero, well, not weight, but zero weight. It's just like because I can't remember who it was. Someone actually messaged me and said, "I saw this person off of your video." You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't sort of like wanting to report on them. That sounds weird, but they were just sort of saying, "Are they okay?" Like, yeah, of course they are. Go follow them. Because my thing is always, I'm sharing people that I honestly do follow and like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to reiterate this as many times as I need to. Like, I'm not sharing people that I just want to share so they get an eye on my page. I
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
follow that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
go and then look at their page and don't like their stuff, don't
Yeah.
follow it. I'm not. I'm not trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
force you. The fact that people are going, "Oh, they've been suggested by Marv. This
Mm.
matters," is
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
ridiculous. I
I
love it.
get that. I know there's
Yeah,
a lot of creators out there who, like you say, don't necessarily follow the person, but they're just saying, go and help them out, go and give them a follow. And you're just
yeah.
like, it's not the same, you know what I mean? Whereas you give valid points, you spend at least 30 seconds to a minute on each person to say, these are their qualities, this is why you should be following them, and this is why you follow them as well. Which, yeah, is much better. It's a much better way to do it.
All right. So now, from your words, give me why people should follow you, because I need you to really celebrate the whole charity thing you've been doing, and what you've been doing it for, and just your handle, everything. Just you go.
Cool. Okay. Obviously, no pressure. You don't need to follow me if you don't want to, but obviously the invitation is there. Um, yeah. The charity stuff. I'm doing it in honor of a good friend. He was called Rob, and unfortunately, last year he took his own life, and nobody knew. It was quite a massive shock. At the time, he actually moved to Hong Kong to be an English teacher, to pursue a career. And he'd been out there for about 3 or 4 years. And every now and then he'd come back, and we'd just spend days just playing video games or, just eating insurmountable amounts of food and stuff like that. But he was such the nicest guy you could ever meet. And we did keep in touch, through WhatsApp and things like that. But yeah, the day that I got the news, it was from a mutual friend, and he said, "I'm so sorry, mate, but Rob's gone." I was like, "What do you mean?" Um, and they said he's passed away. And at the time, he didn't want to say, how or what. So I said, "What's happened?" And he goes, "It looks like he's done it himself." I was like, "For God's sake!" At the time, I was lost for words. Um, and it took me a good few months to process that loss, and it really got me thinking about um, myself as a person in terms of my own mental health, because there have been days where in the past where I've been like signed off work and with depression, and it's a serious thing, and as as men in particular, we don't talk enough about it. And I'm so glad that I did, talk to somebody, because somebody once told me, yeah, a problem, a problem shared is a problem halved. That's sorry, that really sits with me. But yeah, the charity stream, I'm doing it in honor of my friend Rob. It's going to be for 24 hours. Never stayed up that long in my life, I don't think. Well, maybe as a teenager, but not in my late 30s anyway. So, but yeah, the plan is we're going to try and raise £1,000. And if we do that, I've said that I'm going to shave my beard off live on stream. I don't know why I came up with that idea. I thought, when people think of the Yorkshire Gamer, they usually think bald guy with a beard. So why not shave it off for charity? But not only that, for every £5 that everybody donates, I'm doing a massive giveaway as well, where for every £5 you donate, you get one entry into the giveaway. And honestly, we've seen so many generous donations made, and I'm very thankful for everybody who's donated so far. And we're nearly halfway, nearly about half of the target, which is great. But yeah, so that's the charity. So that's going to be on the 14th of March on TikTok from 8 p.m. And yeah, about myself, I'm the Yorkshire Gamer. You might have seen me floating about. and I do tend to focus more on the retro games, as I say, the PS1, PS2 era. Yeah. So if you want to follow me, then that's cool, and I appreciate the support.
No, I think it's amazing what you've done, and I think what will never get said enough to people like yourself is from a collective everybody. Thank you, because whether you're doing a stream or not, you're doing a charity stream or not, the fact you're talking about stuff like this is a massive help to people out there. Because people won't always say thank you, they won't always tell you they're listening, but somewhere someone is listening. And
Yeah.
I think I've learned that along the way, and I know that I've had struggles myself. Not, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be fair for me to say I've had struggles that have been that deep, but there is always different, stuff people go through and everything.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of changes in my life a few years ago, and people do struggle with different things, and people like yourself talking about it makes a massive, massive change in their lives. And so, from us to you, thank you for that. I would encourage everyone, like Yorkshire Gamer just said, please go and check out his live on which date?
14th of March from 8 p.m.
14th of March, yes.
The
24-hour
Friday
live
evening.
stream. Let's get that beard shaved because I am curious.
I think I am hiding a few chins. It's been a while since I've had a clean shave. Definitely in the last 10 years, I've not had a clean shave. So yeah, I'm interested as well. Probably find some things in there.
No, I absolutely love it. So this has been absolute joy. We'll end it there. Again, well, thank you for coming on. It's been a real joy to chat about everything, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And again, thank you. Any final words from you?
Just thanks again, Marv. As I say, this is the first podcast I've ever done. I'm sure there'll be a few more in the future, but yeah, just thanks for everything that you're doing as well, Marv. You're lifting people's spirits, and as I say, you're championing people who normally we might never ever come across, and I think it's good. We need more people like you, like that in the community. Just sharing the love for other creators. It's really important, and yeah, thank you.
It was kind of scary right at the beginning of this. You said that people are learning from me, and I was like, that's kind of a worrying worrying thing.
What are they learning?
Exactly. I have no clue. Because my thing is I'm always on the internet to be educated.
Yeah.
I'm very stupid. If someone can tell me something I can learn, perfect.
Yeah.
But like I say, we'll wrap it up there. This has been Champion the Gamer episode 3. Please go check out Yorkshire Gamer on TikTok. Are you on Instagram as well?
I am, but I don't really use it. So just
same as me.
Yeah, just TikTok. I've got the other. So I've got Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, but I barely touch them. So yeah, just TikTok. Just keep it TikTok.
Get onto that TikTok. Get onto that live stream. Support the good cause, and we will sign off there. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Cheers.